Hello and welcome to the 72's YouTube channel, where today we're going to be talking about some of the best youngsters in the EFL this season. And I'm joined by our social media manager, Adam Reek. How are we doing?
As good as ever. Yourself?
Yeah, as good as ever, mate. As good as ever. So let's get straight into it. We've picked out 3 youngsters each. I mean, there's loads we could have choose from in there in the EFL. I've picked 3 championship names. You've picked 3 League One names. I'll let you do the honours. Who's your first player you'd like to talk about?
Yeah, so obviously the 3 players that we've chose each are players that it's kind of we can come back to at the end of their careers and say, I told you so. It's 3 players that we think will get an appearance or will make their name in the Premier League in their career. So I'll open it with Sunderland's Jay Matete. He signed from Fleetwood in January. He was already highly regarded at Fleetwood. He made the move to Sunderland, where I feel we've seen a lot of players come who've had a decent reputation at other clubs in League One. George Dobson, for example, he was one of Walsall's best players. He's came to Sunderland. I don't think he could handle the pressure. Obviously, he's went to Charlton and he's performed well, but Jay Matete has came and he's just hit the ground running. He's got all the traits and attributes for a centre midfielder in the Premier League. You know, he's not the tallest, but he's strong. He's very athletic. He knows where to put his body in relation to the opposition. Keeps the ball. He's good under the press. He's quick. And one of my favourite things about him is he often takes a touch into the opposition, knowing that he can snatch it straight back and just completely open the space. And that's the main thing I always look for in a centre midfielder, someone who can take the ball within a crowd of, say, 1 or 2 players and come out with it and make a good pass, make a good progressive run. And he's just got everything. And I think, especially with Sunderland, because the expectations are high. If you perform at Sunderland, you've got more chance of being able to perform in the Championship and then more chance of being able to perform in the Premier League. Hopefully he does it with us, but I can see him maybe in a couple of seasons going elsewhere if we haven't really kicked on in the Championship. We need to get out of League One first. But no, definitely Jay Matete, someone to definitely look out for.
I saw a lot of Sunderland fans online after the game against, was it Charlton last weekend, saying how good Jay Matete is. And I'm sure he's probably a similar player or a similar centre mid to my first pick, and that would be Lewis O'Brien at Huddersfield Town. 23 years old, heavily linked to Leeds United this season. I think he'll get a Premier League move easily in the next couple of years. If you don't get promoted with Huddersfield, I think they'll have a real task on their hands keeping hold of him, because he's got a 10 million release clause in his current contract, I believe. So, Lewis O'Brien is just quality. I've seen Huddersfield a couple of times on Sky this season, and whenever he plays, he's just got everything about a central midfielder. He can cover so much ground. He's only a short guy. He's not massive. But he's so strong on the ball. Off the ball, he works hard, and he really complements that kind of that pressing game that Carlos Corberán plays at Huddersfield. It's a passing game as well. Lewis O'Brien can pass forwards. He can pass backwards. He rarely loses possession for Huddersfield. And if he was playing for a team like, say, Fulham or Bournemouth this season, I think everyone would be talking about him a lot more. But because he's not the most glamorous team in Huddersfield, he's probably not getting the recognition he deserves. But Lewis O'Brien, for me, is definitely a future Premier League midfielder, maybe even an England midfielder. But let's not get too ahead of ourselves.
Big shout.
Let's not get too ahead. But I think Lewis O'Brien's quality. So that's my third choice.
Yeah, second for me is Marlon Fossey, who's at Fulham, but he's on loan at Bolton. Fullbacks in League One and League Two have been a bit hard to come by recently. Like, there seemed to be a surge in League Two a couple of years ago with like Pickering, NG, Bramall. Obviously this season, you've got Kim Wilson, Asai Jones, Jed Spence. But in League One alone, there's no one that's really stood out apart from Marlon Fossey. He's been superb for Bolton. And what I look for in a fullback is someone that can cover the whole length of the touchline. And not just with his legs and with stamina, but he looks like he can control it in terms of like he just looks the best player on that flank, and he does that. Defensively, he's sound going forward. He's both footed. He scored a great goal at Oxford a few weeks ago. He can get to the byline. He can invert his runs. He can stay on the touchline. He's strong. He's quick. He just looks as if he's got good control of the ball. And I feel as if fullbacks often in League One, they might get a few assists, they might get a few goals, and people might think, oh yeah, he could make the step up. But a lot of the times, they've got technical deficiencies. But he looks the real deal, and I think it might be a bit difficult next season, obviously, with Fulham going up when he goes back to really stake claim on that team. But certainly a good Championship loan move. And then you never know the season after. But Fulham will probably come back down. But if Fulham do come back down, then he can get in that Fulham side and go back up with them and play in the Premier League. That's my pathway.
Definitely, he's one of those. I think Fulham have had quite a few youngsters over the years who've struggled to get into the first team. Fossey being one, and you look at Matt O'Reilly, who went to MK Dons, did so well, and then got a move to Celtic, but he couldn't get couldn't get into the Fulham first team at all. So
he'll play in the Premier League. He'll play in the Premier League, Matthew.
Yeah, some good players there. My second choice, it's got to be Brennan Johnson for me. He's, I think he's without doubt one of the best wingers in the Championship, in the EFL. He's just got it all. He's obviously got the physical attributes to kind of operate that right flank. And since Steve Cooper's come in, Johnson, like so many other players, have really kind of come into their own, started to perform well, and are really contributing to what is a really good team at Forest at the moment. So some of Johnson's stats for this season: 34 league appearances, 10 goals and 6 assists. Now, he did well at Lincoln City last season, didn't he? Got into double figures for goals. And first half of the season, I thought, it's probably a transitional season for him. He might do well to get, say, 5 goals and 5 assists. But as the season's gone on, Johnson has just got better and better. And despite all of that January interest in him, Brentford coming in with several bids, going up as high as 18 million, I think it was. He's not let any of that kind of affect his game. He's kept his head down. He's done what a lot of young players probably find difficult to do, and that's keep improving whilst being in the headlines for the right reasons, of course. But Johnson, for me, he's Premier League bound. If you don't make him with Nottingham Forest, he's got so many Premier League teams already linked with him, and yeah, he's definitely going to be playing in the Premier League, isn't he? And I don't want to make another England call, but if Brennan Johnson was English, if he played for the England national team or chose to, then he'd be one of the 3 lines player of the future, I'm sure. But
no, definitely. I think the team that he'd actually suit very well might be like a Leicester City or someone. Because like you say, I mean, look at Harvey Barnes' route. He had a spell at West Brom, lit up the Premier League, went back to Leicester, and, got in that side. So, no, definitely Brennan Johnson. I think if you had to pick one player that will definitely play in the Premier League, you'd go Brennan Johnson, wouldn't
you? Definitely, yeah. He like I say, he's just got everything about him. He seems like such a humble lad as well. Seems like a decent guy. So that's half the battle in it when you're a young player, having the right mentality. So Brennan Johnson destined for good things, I'm sure. But into our final 2 picks now. Who have you got for your third choice?
Third choice, Luke Mcnally at Oxford. Let me just check his age here. I'm going to guess he's about 21, 22. He's 22-year-old, and he's Irish. So he'll end up playing for the Irish Ireland national team. Oxford's players really excite me. I mean, last season, the best centre-back in League One by a country mile was Rob Atkinson. And as good as Rob Atkinson is, I think Oxford's style of play goes a long way. They like the centre-backs to be able to, spread the pitch out wide. They like them to be able to run forward. So they're straight away, you're getting the progressive runs up. They're like Matty Taylor, he's someone who plays on the last man, but also comes short for it as well. So there you go, you're getting the progressive passes up. And these are all stats that football clubs look at and will help with a summer move. for Luke Mcnally. And just in general, I think Oxford's got a lot of talent. And I think football clubs can trust purchasing a player from Oxford because, like I say, Rob Atkinson's one example who's been fantastic at Bristol City this season. But, there's loads of players who have made the step up.
Rob Dickey,
Yeah.
QPR.
Well, sorry, that's the other. I knew there was someone else, and that's the other one, Rob Dickey. Like I say, Luke Mcnally will follow that journey. And to be fair, you'd probably say that Rob Dickey and Rob Atkinson will play in the Premier League at some point in their career as well. So I think for Luke Mcnally, he's got a bit of a head start in the fact that he's younger. But I find it interesting because I think everyone thought Elliot Moore was going to be that lad for the centre back for Oxford this season. Who he's been fantastic, but I just feel as if Luke Mcnally has shone a little bit brighter. And like I say, he's got all the traits for a defender. Body orientation, distances, positional awareness, just understanding of how to play centre back, the role, the job. I think he could play in a 4, he can play in a 3. And like I say, more attacking wise, he's got the progressive running and the progressive passing, and he likes to drive forward, which I think the defensive stats are key if you're going to play in a defensive team. But for someone to make the step up to a good side, they need to be able to have that. They need to be able to play on the halfway line. They need to be able to spray the ball around. And yeah, Luke Mcnally is that guy.
We talk about kind of modern footballers a lot on here, and players who would suit a move to the Premier League. And Rob Dickey's definitely one. He's a ball playing centre half, and another player in the Championship who again goes under the radar a little bit is my third choice is Lloyd Kelly at Bournemouth. 23 years old, Bournemouth captain, 27 appearances in the league this season, 1 goal, 1 assist. He's been heavily linked to Newcastle. Eddie Howe wants to bring him to St James's Park. It was him that signed him from Bristol City. In 2019, Liverpool and West Ham also have been mentioned with Lloyd Kelly. So that alone tells you how good a player he's thought of among these Premier League clubs. He's, we talk about modern centre backs, and Lloyd Kelly, he's rapid, isn't he? He's all over the back line, and he's a ball player as well. Not the biggest guy, but he doesn't let that fault him. Kind of like Lewis O'Brien at Huddersfield. You don't really need that physicality to be a good centre back these days. You can be a sweeper, you can have that pace and that athleticism, and that'll put you ahead of a lot of attackers who aren't the most physical either nowadays. It's all about pace in the modern game, isn't it? So Lloyd O'Kelly, for me, I think he's a player you like as well.
Yeah, definitely. I think the other thing that gives him the potential to play in the Premier League is, like you say, because of how quick he is and because of how good he is on the ball, you could imagine him playing at fullback for a side that's maybe he's 13th to 20th in the Premier League.
I think he was a right back at some times for Bristol City, but he's become a centre back for Bournemouth this season. And I'm just looking at Bournemouth's other centre backs now: Chris Metham, Nat Phillips, Gary Cahill. He's getting in ahead of each of these without question every week. So highly thought of player.
Nat Phillips was a big reason for Liverpool getting in the Champions League last season.
Yeah, he's a good player, isn't he? I'm just looking at his career now. He played at Stuttgart 2019-20 season. I think a lot of Liverpool fans were surprised to see him leave for Bournemouth. Is it only on loan?
Yeah, it's on loan.
On loan,
but they paid a canny whack for him, I think they're paying a couple of million just to have him on loan
sorry?
A canny whack.
A canny whack.
That must be a southern term.
I've never heard it before, but I know what you mean. So, mate. So many talented players in the EFL, isn't there? It's such a competitive group of divisions, and we could have picked out 10, 15 players each, couldn't we? But any players getting a mention from you that we haven't mentioned in the video already?
I'm sure there's loads in the Championship. League One, Callum Lang, Ross Stewart, Nathan Broadhead. League Two, Kane Wilson, Scott Twine will have a good chance. There's at the moment there's probably about 20 to 30 players who actually that's a lot. Maybe it's 20 players between. Actually, that's quite a lot. I don't know how many players that are currently playing in League One or League Two do you think will make one Premier League appearance before they retire.
Oh
15?
God, I mean,
is that a lot?
You think how many players there are in those three divisions alone? There must be like.
Wait, well, just League One and League Two. There's like 46, 48 teams. They've all got 20 players. So there's about 800 players. Ish.
You could probably say.
You'd imagine about 10 to 15 wouldn't you?
At least 20 of those will probably go on to make a Premier League appearance, you'd guess, because there's an easier route now, isn't there, through the EFL to the Premier League. Even from non-league, there's a kind of established route, whereas before, if you weren't already playing in like a top European league or for a top championship side and get promoted, you wouldn't really have a chance of playing in the Premier League, would you?
So, tell you what, that's a good question to put on the Twitter. That out the current League One and League Two teams, how many players will go on to make an appearance? Maybe do a poll. Let's see what the people think. 0 to 10, 10 to 20, 20 to 30, 30 plus.
We can put it to our loyal followers on Twitter. I just wanted to reel off some championship names who we haven't mentioned. I said Dion Sanderson before this video started, but he's obviously already at Wolves, so he'll no doubt go on to make an appearance. Ilias Chair at QPR, Keane Lewis Potter at Hull City, just to name a couple. Morgan Gibbs-White also at Wolves. They've got some good young players, haven't they, Wolves?
Yeah, obviously, Morgan Gibbs-White has made appearances, though. Is Ilias Chair under 23?
Ilias Chair is 23, I think.
So he's still got
Isaiah Jones, Middlesbrough, Jed Spence, who, he's obviously one of the best youngsters in the EFL. But
Bayern Munich.
He's in with so many clubs, isn't he? Dortmund and Leipzig want him as well. So Alex Scott, Bristol City, attracting a bit of Premier League interest, and so too for Bristol City is Antoine Semenyo. I think West Ham want him. I mean, West Ham want every Championship player.
We had Semenyo a couple of years ago. I think he made about 3 off-time appearances. So it shows that's what I was scouting. Like, how old is Noah Masengo?
Noah Masengo. He can't be that old. He's already got a Champions League appearance to his name, hasn't he? Noah Masengo. He's only 20 years old.
He'll play in the Premier League. I thought we were getting him when we had Lee Johnson on loan.
Yeah.
But in Ireland,
I think last season he kind of fell out of favour a bit, but this season he's done really well, hasn't he? Under Nigel Pearson. Nigel Pearson's done well to bring through a lot of young players at Bristol City this season. But I think we've covered everything. And there's obviously players we've not mentioned that we probably should have done. But yeah, we'll put some clips out on Twitter. We'll put some questions out on Twitter. And as ever, if you've watched the video and you've enjoyed it, please do drop us a like and a subscribe, comment who we've missed out, who you think is going to play in the Premier League one day, and join us very soon for another episode on the 72's YouTube channel.